legal responsibilities in nursing practice. Let's begin by highlighting the significance of legal knowledge in nursing. Nurses play a pivotal role in healthcare, and being well-versed in the laws that govern their practice is essential. This knowledge not only safeguards the nurse, but also ensures the protection of clients' rights. Nurses, as healthcare professionals, are held accountable for their actions. Practicing nursing within the boundaries of the law is not just a suggestion. It's a fundamental aspect of the profession. This accountability serves as a protective shield against liability and upholds the trust placed in nurses by their patients. One of the primary legal responsibilities of nurses is to advocate for clients' rights. This involves being a voice for the patient, ensuring their autonomy, and safeguarding their dignity. Understanding the legal framework allows nurses to navigate complex situations while upholding the principles of patient advocacy. Nurses must provide care within the defined scope of practice. This means understanding the limitations and boundaries of their role. Operating within this framework not only prevents legal issues, but also ensures that care is delivered safely and competently. In the dynamic healthcare environment, collaboration is key. Nurses need to discern their responsibilities in relation to other members of the healthcare team. This involves effective communication, coordination, and a clear understanding of each team member's role to provide comprehensive and cohesive care. Providing safe, proficient care consistent with standards of care is a legal obligation. These standards serve as benchmarks for nursing practice and are designed to ensure the highest quality of care. Adhering to these standards is not only ethically sound, but also legally imperative. Understanding and embracing legal responsibilities in nursing is not just a professional duty, but a moral obligation. It forms the foundation of ethical practice, protects both nurses and clients, and contributes to the overall quality of healthcare delivery. Federal regulations in nursing practice. These are laws established by the federal government to govern various aspects of our lives, and nursing is no exception. In the context of healthcare, these regulations are designed to protect patients, ensure privacy, and uphold the ethical standards of the profession. 1. Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA. Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, commonly known as HIPAA, which was enacted in 1996, is a cornerstone in safeguarding patients' privacy and security of health information. As nurses, it's crucial to understand and adhere to HIPAA regulations to maintain the trust and confidentiality of patient information. 2. Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA. The Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, legislation passed in 1990, prohibits discrimination against individuals with disabilities. For nurses, this means ensuring equal access to healthcare services for all patients, regardless of their physical or mental abilities. Understanding ADA is essential for providing inclusive and equitable care. 3. Mental Health Parity Act, MHPA. The Mental Health Parity Act, MHPA, was enacted in 1996. This law aims to ensure that mental health and substance use disorder benefits are comparable to medical and surgical benefits. As nurses, being aware of MHPA helps us advocate for our patients with mental health needs, promoting fair and comprehensive care. 4. Patient Self-Determination Act, PSDA. Our final federal regulation to explore is the Patient Self-Determination Act, PSDA. Enacted in 1991, PSDA empowers patients to make decisions about their medical treatment, including the right to refuse treatment and formulate advance directives. Nurses play a vital role in facilitating and respecting patients' autonomy in decision-making in line with PSDA. Understanding and adhering to federal regulations is an integral part of nursing practice. Criminal and civil laws in healthcare. Criminal law. Criminal law is a crucial subset of public law that primarily concerns itself with the relationship between an individual and the government. In the healthcare context, this becomes especially pertinent. Imagine a scenario where a nurse, in an attempt to conceal a significant error, resorts to falsifying a patient record. In this case, the nurse could find themselves on the wrong side of criminal law. Criminal law governs actions that are considered offenses against the state or public. In healthcare, this involves actions that breach the trust and standards set by the profession. For example, consider a nurse who, out of fear or negligence, falsifies patient records to cover up a serious mistake. This act not only violates ethical standards, but also falls within the jurisdiction of criminal law. So what are the consequences? Breaking criminal laws can lead to serious repercussions, including legal actions, fines, and even imprisonment. It is crucial for healthcare professionals to be aware of the boundaries set by criminal law to ensure patient safety and uphold the integrity of the profession. Civil law. Shifting gears, let's now explore civil laws and their significance in the healthcare landscape. Unlike criminal laws that deal with offenses against the state, civil laws are designed to protect individual rights. In healthcare, a prominent aspect of civil law that directly impacts nursing care is tort law. Civil laws address disputes between individuals, organizations, or the government. Tort law, a subset of civil law, deals with actions that result in harm to others, whether intentional or unintentional. For example, in the healthcare sector, a nurse providing substandard care that leads to harm or injury to a patient could be held liable under tort law. This highlights the importance of maintaining a high standard of care to prevent legal consequences. What are the consequences? Violating civil laws can result in financial compensation being awarded to the injured party. Healthcare professionals need to be well-versed in tort law to mitigate the risk of legal action and provide safe and effective care. Understanding the nuances of criminal and civil laws is indispensable for healthcare professionals. By navigating these legal waters with knowledge and diligence, we can ensure the highest standards of care, uphold the trust of our patients, and safeguard our professional integrity. Types of torts. Torts are civil wrongs that can result in legal liability, and they are particularly significant in the healthcare profession. We'll categorize these into unintentional torts, quasi-intentional torts, and intentional torts. 1. Unintentional torts. Let's begin with unintentional torts. These are cases where harm occurs, but there was no intent to cause injury. The primary type we'll explore is negligence. Negligence involves a failure to provide the standard of care expected in a given situation. Consider a nurse who neglects to implement safety measures for a client at risk of falls, leading to potential harm. Malpractice, also known as professional negligence. Malpractice, or professional negligence, occurs when a healthcare professional fails to adhere to the standards of their profession. An example would be a nurse administering an incorrect dose of medication, resulting in a cardiac arrest and the unfortunate death of the patient. 2. Quasi-intentional torts. Now, let's shift our focus to quasi-intentional torts. These involve actions that are not entirely intentional, but fall somewhere between intentional and unintentional. 2 key examples are breach of confidentiality and defamation of character. Breach of confidentiality. Breach of confidentiality occurs when private information is disclosed without consent. Imagine a nurse releasing a client's medical diagnosis to the media. Defamation of character. Defamation of character involves making false statements that harm a person's reputation. For instance, a nurse gossiping to a coworker about a client's alleged infidelity. 3. Intentional torts. Now, let's explore intentional torts. These are cases where harm is deliberately inflicted. Three common intentional torts in healthcare are assault, battery, and false imprisonment. Types of torts. Torts are civil wrongs that can result in legal liability, and they are particularly significant in the healthcare profession. We'll categorize these into unintentional torts, quasi-intentional torts, and intentional torts. 1. Unintentional torts. Let's begin with unintentional torts. These are cases where harm occurs, but there was no intent to cause injury. The primary type we'll explore is negligence. Negligence involves a failure to provide the standard of care expected in a given situation. Consider a nurse who neglects to implement safety measures for a client at risk of falls, leading to potential harm. Malpractice, also known as professional negligence. Malpractice or professional negligence occurs when a healthcare professional fails to adhere to the standards of their profession. An example would be a nurse administering an incorrect dose of medication, resulting in a cardiac arrest and the unfortunate death of the patient. 2. Quasi-intentional torts. Now, let's shift our focus to quasi-intentional torts. These involve actions that are not entirely intentional, but fall somewhere between intentional and unintentional. Two key examples are breach of confidentiality and defamation of character. Breach of confidentiality. Breach of confidentiality occurs when private information is disclosed without consent. Imagine a nurse releasing a client's medical diagnosis to the media. Defamation of character. Defamation of character involves making false statements that harm a person's reputation. For instance, a nurse gossiping to a coworker about a client's alleged infidelity. 3. Intentional torts. Now, let's explore intentional torts. These are cases where harm is deliberately inflicted. Three common intentional torts in healthcare are assault, battery, and false imprisonment. 1. Assault. Assault occurs when one person's conduct causes another to fear harm. Consider a nurse threatening to insert a nasogastric tube into a client who is refusing to eat. 2. Battery. Battery involves intentional and wrongful physical contact resulting in injury or offensive contact. An example is a nurse restraining a client against their will and administering an injection against their wishes. 3. False imprisonment. False imprisonment occurs when a person is confined or restrained against their will. In a healthcare context, this might involve a nurse using restraints on a competent client to prevent them from leaving the facility. Understanding the various types of torts in healthcare is crucial for providing ethical and legally sound patient care. As healthcare professionals, it is our responsibility to be aware of these legal concepts and ensure that our actions prioritize the well-being and rights of our patients. Professional negligence. Professional negligence is characterized by the failure of a person with professional training to act in a manner that a reasonably prudent individual with similar training and experience would. The terms reasonable and prudent encompass qualities such as judgment, intelligence, foresight, and skill. The negligence issues that often prompt malpractice suits in the nursing profession include 1. Failure to follow standards of care. Nurses are expected to adhere to professional and facility established standards of care. 2. Improper use of equipment. Using equipment in a responsible and knowledgeable manner is paramount to avoid negligence claims. 3. Ineffective communication. Effective and thorough communication with clients is crucial to providing quality care. 4. Incomplete documentation. Proper documentation of the care provided is essential for legal and professional reasons. 5. Failure to notify provider of changes. Nurses must promptly notify the healthcare provider of any changes in the client's condition. 6. Incomplete procedures. Failing to complete a prescribed procedure can have serious consequences and may lead to legal implications. For nursing students, The stakes are high. They face liability if harm comes to clients due to their direct actions or inaction. It is crucial for nursing students to refrain from performing tasks for which they are not adequately prepared. Additionally, supervision is essential as they learn new procedures. In cases where harm occurs, liability is shared among the student instructor, educational institution, and facility. Now, let's explore how nurses can avoid liability for negligence. This includes 1. Following standards of care. Adhering to established standards of care is the foundation of nursing practice. 2. Providing competent care. Ensuring that care provided is competent and aligned with professional standards. 3. Effective communication. Constant communication with health team members and clients is key to preventing misunderstandings. 4. Building a caring report. Developing a caring report with clients fosters trust and contributes to a positive healthcare environment. 5. Thorough documentation. Fully documenting assessments, interventions, and evaluations is essential for legal and professional purposes. 6. Adherence to policies and procedures. Being familiar with and following a facility's policies and procedures is crucial in avoiding negligence claims. Understanding and actively mitigating the risk of professional negligence is imperative for nurses at all stages of their careers. By following established standards, providing competent care, and maintaining effective communication, nurses can contribute to a safer and more reliable healthcare environment. Clients' rights. Let's begin by defining what we mean by clients' rights. These rights encompass a range of legal privileges or powers that individuals possess when they avail themselves of healthcare services. As nurses, it is paramount that we understand and respect these rights to provide ethical and patient-centered care. Examples of clients' rights. 1. Informed consent. Clients have the right to be fully informed about any medical procedure or treatment before it is administered. Obtaining informed consent is a fundamental ethical practice. 2. Refusal of treatment. Clients also have the autonomy to refuse treatment. It is essential for nurses to acknowledge and respect this right while advocating for the best interests of the client. 3. Advance directives. Understanding and implementing advance directives is crucial. These legal documents outline a person's wishes regarding medical treatment in the event they are unable to communicate. 4. Confidentiality. Maintaining the confidentiality of patient information is a cornerstone of ethical nursing practice. Respecting privacy builds trust between the nurse and the client. 5. Information security. In our digital age, ensuring the security of health information is paramount. Nurses must be vigilant in safeguarding electronic records and sensitive data. Clients' rights are not mere ethical considerations. They hold legal weight. When individuals receive healthcare services, they retain these rights as legal privileges. Recognizing and upholding these rights contribute to the promotion of patient dignity and autonomy. The American Hospital Association plays a significant role in delineating patients' rights in healthcare settings. Familiarizing ourselves with these guidelines ensures that we align our nursing practice with nationally recognized standards. Resident rights in Medicare participating nursing facilities. For nurses working in facilities that participate in Medicare programs, additional attention must be given to resident rights statutes. These statutes govern the operation of nursing facilities, emphasizing the importance of respecting the rights of residents in these settings. Safeguarding clients' rights is not just a moral imperative, but a legal obligation for nurses. By being well-versed in informed consent, refusal of treatment, advance directives, confidentiality, and information security, we contribute to a healthcare environment that upholds the dignity and autonomy of every individual under our care. Nursing role in clients' rights. As healthcare professionals, it is imperative that we not only understand, but actively protect and advocate for our clients' rights. Regardless of age, health condition, or setting, certain fundamental tenets apply universally. 1. Ensuring understanding. One of the primary responsibilities of nurses is to ensure that our clients fully comprehend their rights. It is not merely about informing, it's about ensuring genuine understanding. This understanding empowers clients to actively participate in the decision-making process regarding their care. 2. Active participation in decision-making. Clients possess the inherent right to be actively involved in decisions related to their care. This means not just being informed, but having a genuine say in the aspects of care that affect them. As nurses, we play a pivotal role in facilitating this involvement, fostering an environment where clients feel heard and respected. 3. The right to accept, refuse, or modify care plans. Every client has the right to accept, refuse, or request modifications to their plan of care. This goes beyond the mere reception of care. It extends to the autonomy of the individual. Nurses should be sensitive to the choices and preferences of their clients, ensuring that they are central to the decision-making process. 4. Competent and respectful care. Clients are entitled to receive care from competent individuals who treat them with respect. As nurses, it is our duty to maintain and enhance our competence continually. Moreover, respecting our clients is not just a professional requirement, but a moral imperative. It involves acknowledging their dignity, preferences, and cultural values. The nursing role in clients' rights is a cornerstone of ethical practice. By ensuring our clients understand their rights, actively participating in decision-making, respecting their autonomy, and providing competent and respectful care, we contribute to a healthcare environment founded on dignity and partnership. 5 elements of negligence in nursing care. 1. Duty to provide care as defined by a standard. This refers to the duty a nurse has to provide care according to a defined standard. It involves what a reasonably prudent nurse would do in a given situation. For example, a client who is a fall risk. The nurse should complete a fall risk assessment for all clients during admission. 2. Breach of duty by failure to meet the standard. This occurs when a nurse fails to meet the established standard of care. For example, the nurse does not perform a fall risk assessment during admission. 3. Foreseeability of harm. This involves the knowledge that failing to provide the proper standard of care could harm the client. For example, the nurse should know that failure to take fall risk precautions could endanger a client at risk for falls. 4. Breach of duty has the potential to cause harm. This element combines elements 2 and 3. It asserts that the failure to meet the standard had the potential to cause harm, and this relationship must be provable. For example, without a fall risk assessment, the nurse does not know the client's risk for falls and does not take the proper precautions. 5. Harm occurs. This element establishes that actual harm to the client has taken place. For example, the client falls out of bed and fractures his hip. Understanding these 5 elements is vital in assessing and preventing negligence in nursing care. It emphasizes the importance of adhering to established standards, foreseeing potential harm, and taking appropriate actions to ensure patient safety. Informed consent. Informed consent is a legal process by which a client, or their legally appointed designee, provides written permission for a procedure or treatment. To be considered informed, the client must understand the reason they need the treatment, how it will benefit them, the associated risks, and any alternative options. Components of informed consent. Now, let's break down the components of informed consent. 1. Reason for treatment or procedure. The client needs to know why a particular treatment or procedure is recommended. 2. Benefits. Understanding how the treatment will benefit them is crucial for informed consent. 3. Risks. Clients must be informed about the potential risks associated with the chosen treatment or procedure. 4. Alternative options. Providing information about alternative options, including the choice of not treating the problem, is essential. What is the nurse's role? The nurse plays a vital role in the informed consent process. Their responsibilities include witnessing the client's signature on the informed consent form and ensuring that the provider has responsibly obtained informed consent. Informed consent guidelines. Let's move on to the guidelines related to informed consent. 1. Implied consent. For most nursing care aspects, implied consent is sufficient. For example, when a client follows the nurse's instructions for a procedure like a tuberculosis skin test. 2. Written consent. Invasive procedures or surgeries require written consent from the client. 3. State laws. Laws regarding who can give informed consent vary by state. Nurses must be aware of the laws in the state where they practice. So who can provide consent? 1. Competent adults. A competent adult capable of understanding and communicating must sign the consent form. Others who can grant consent. This includes parents of minors, legal guardians, court-specified representatives, and individuals with durable power of attorney for healthcare. 2. Emancipated minors. Minors who are independent, such as married minors, can consent for themselves. 3. Mature adolescents. Include mature adolescents in the process by allowing them to sign an assent as part of the informed consent document. Lastly, the nurse must verify that the consent is informed and witness the client signing the consent form. Refusal of treatment. Let's start by understanding the legal framework that guides us in this matter. The Patient Self-Determination Act, PSDA, outlines specific requirements for healthcare providers when it comes to informing clients about their right to accept or refuse care. The PSDA mandates that healthcare staff must inform clients upon admission to a healthcare facility about their right to accept or refuse treatment. This is a fundamental aspect of patient autonomy and respects the individual's ability to make decisions about their own care. Competent adults, according to the PSDA, have the right to refuse treatment. This includes not only specific procedures, but also the right to leave a healthcare facility without a discharge prescription from the provider. When a client makes the decision to refuse a treatment or procedure, it's essential to document this decision thoroughly. The client should sign a document indicating that they understand the associated risks and have chosen to decline the recommended care. Leaving against medical advice, AMA. Now let's explore a scenario where a client decides to leave the facility against medical advice. In such cases, the nurse plays a pivotal role in ensuring that the client is aware of the potential risks they may face by leaving before receiving a discharge prescription. The nurse's responsibility includes promptly notifying the provider about the client's decision to leave AMA. Subsequently, the nurse engages in a discussion with the client, explaining the potential risks and consequences associated with leaving the facility prematurely. To formalize the process, the nurse requests the client to sign an Against Medical Advice, AMA, form. This document serves as a clear acknowledgement from the client that they are choosing to go against the medical advice provided by the healthcare team. Documentation is a critical aspect of this process. The nurse must meticulously document the entire incident, including the discussion with the client, the risks explained, and the signing of the AMA form. This documentation is crucial for legal and ethical reasons, ensuring transparency and accountability in the care provided. Responsibilities for informed consent in healthcare. Provider's responsibilities. 1. Purpose of the procedure. The provider must clearly articulate the purpose of the procedure to the client. This includes explaining why the procedure is recommended and its intended benefits. 2. Complete description of the procedure. A thorough and comprehensible description of the procedure must be provided, outlining the steps involved, potential risks, and expected outcomes. 3. Description of professionals. The provider should inform the client about the professionals who will be involved in performing and participating in the procedure, ensuring transparency about the healthcare team. 4. potential harm, pain, or discomfort. Transparent communication about potential negative outcomes, such as harm, pain, or discomfort, is essential for the client to make an informed decision. 5. Options for other treatments. The provider must discuss alternative treatments or approaches, providing the client with a comprehensive view of available options. 6. Option to refuse treatment. The client should be made aware of their right to refuse treatment and the potential consequences associated with that decision. Client's responsibilities. 1. Voluntary consent. Informed consent should be given voluntarily, without any form of coercion. The decision should be made willingly and without external pressure. 2. Competence and legal age. The client must be competent and of legal age, or if applicable, an emancipated minor. If the client is unable to provide consent, an authorized person must step in. 3. Understanding information. The client should receive enough information to make an educated decision, demonstrating a clear understanding of what to expect from the procedure. Nurses' responsibilities. 1. Ensuring necessary information. The nurse plays a crucial role in ensuring that the provider has given the client all the necessary information for informed consent. 2. Verifying client understanding and competence. It is the responsibility of the nurse to confirm that the client has understood the information provided and is competent to give informed consent. 3. Documenting the informed consent. The nurse should assist in the documentation process by having the client sign the informed consent document. 4. Communication with provider. If the client has additional questions or appears to lack understanding, the nurse should promptly notify the provider, who is then responsible for offering clarification. 5. Documentation of client questions. The nurse must document any questions the client has, notifications to the provider, reinforcement of teaching, and the use of an interpreter if applicable. The informed consent process is a collaborative effort involving the provider, the client, and the nurse. It is a critical step in respecting the autonomy and well-being of the patient. By adhering to their respective responsibilities, healthcare professionals ensure a transparent and ethical approach to healthcare decision-making. Standards of care in nursing practice. In the world of nursing, the foundation of practice lies in established standards of care and legal guidelines. These standards act as a compass, directing nurses in their daily responsibilities and safeguarding both patients and practitioners. 1. Legal foundation of nursing practice. Nurses operate within a legal framework defined by 1. Nurse Practice Acts. Each state has its own set of rules and regulations governing nursing practice, outlining the scope of activities permitted and the boundaries to be observed. 2. Professional organizations. Published standards from esteemed organizations such as the American Nurses Association, ANA, the American Association of Critical Care Nurses, AACN, and the American Association of Occupational Health Nurses, AAOHN, provide additional guidelines for nursing practice. 3. Facility policies. Healthcare facilities contribute to the legal framework through their own policies and procedures, setting the standard of practice for their employees. These policies offer detailed guidance on responding to specific situations and performing client care procedures. 2. Implications for nurses. Understanding and adhering to standards of care is paramount for nurses, as failure to do so can have serious implications, including malpractice lawsuits. Let's explore how these standards define and direct the level of care nurses should provide. 3. Legal consequences. Standards of care serve as a benchmark, and deviation from these standards can lead to legal consequences. Nurses who fail to follow established standards may find themselves facing malpractice lawsuits. It is crucial for every nurse to recognize the gravity of adhering to these standards. 4. Staying within legal limits. Nurses should never practice beyond their legal scope or outside their areas of competence. Regardless of external factors such as staffing shortages or lack of appropriate personnel, it is the nurse's responsibility to operate within the defined boundaries. 5. Utilizing the chain of command. When faced with concerns related to assignments, nurses should employ the formal chain of command. This involves verbalizing concerns in light of the legal scope of practice, job description, and area of competence. Effective communication within the healthcare team is vital to ensuring patient safety and adherence to standards of care. The adherence to standards of care is not just a professional obligation, but a legal and ethical responsibility for nurses. By understanding and following these standards, nurses contribute to a healthcare system that prioritizes patient safety and optimal outcomes. Impaired coworkers in healthcare. Let's start by acknowledging the undeniable fact that impaired healthcare providers can indeed pose a significant risk to client safety. As professionals in the healthcare industry, it is our duty to ensure that our colleagues are fit to provide the best possible care to those who depend on us. Now, what happens when you suspect a coworker of engaging in behavior that due party says client care or may indicate a substance use disorder? It is crucial to recognize that as a nurse, you have a duty to report such concerns to the appropriate manager. Reporting is not an act of betrayal, but rather an essential step in upholding the well-being of our patients. Many healthcare facilities have established policies to address these concerns, providing access to assistance programs designed to help impaired coworkers. These programs aim not only to identify the problem, but also to facilitate entry into treatment programs. The focus here is on rehabilitation and support, recognizing that recovery is a journey that requires collective effort. It's important to understand that each state has its own set of laws and regulations governing the disposition of healthcare professionals with substance use disorders. This means that depending on your location, criminal charges could apply in certain situations. Being aware of these legal aspects is crucial as we navigate the delicate balance between accountability and compassion. Addressing impaired coworkers is not just a professional responsibility, it's a moral imperative. By reporting concerns, following facility policies, and being aware of the legal landscape, we contribute to creating a safer healthcare environment for both our colleagues and, most importantly, our patients. Advance directives in healthcare. The primary goal of advance directives is to establish a communication channel for a client's wishes concerning end-of-life care. This becomes especially crucial when the client is unable to communicate these preferences themselves. According to the Patient Self-Determination Act, it is mandatory to inquire about advance directives when a client is admitted to a healthcare facility. This ensures that healthcare providers are aware of the client's preferences from the outset. Clients with advance directives should be provided with written information outlining their rights related to healthcare decisions. Additionally, assistance from a healthcare representative should be made available to guide clients through the process of formulating advance directives. Types of advance directives. Now, let's explore the two main types of advance directives. 1. Living will. A living will is a legal document expressing the client's wishes regarding medical treatment in the event of incapacity and facing end-of-life issues. State laws often include provisions protecting healthcare providers who adhere to a living will from liability. 2. Durable power of attorney for healthcare. A durable power of attorney for healthcare is a document in which clients designate a healthcare proxy to make decisions on their behalf if they become unable to do so. The proxy can be any competent adult chosen by the client. 3. Provider's orders. In the absence of a do not resuscitate, DNR, or allow natural death, AND, prescription in the client's medical record, nurses are responsible for initiating cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR, when there is no pulse or respirations. Providers consult both the client and the family before administering a DNR or AND order. Nursing role in advance directives. Nurses play a pivotal role in the implementation and adherence to advance directives. Their responsibilities include 1. Furnishing clients with written information about advance directives. 2. Documenting the client's advance directives status in their medical records. 3. Ensuring that the advance directives accurately reflect the client's current decisions. 4. Informing all members of the healthcare team about the client's advance directives to ensure coordinated care. Advance directives serve as a crucial tool in ensuring that a client's wishes are respected, especially in challenging end-of-life situations. Nurses, with their pivotal role, contribute significantly to the proper implementation and communication of these directives. Mandatory reporting. As healthcare providers, we bear a responsibility to report any suspicion of abuse, whether it involves children, elders, or domestic violence. This is not just a moral obligation. It's a legal one aligning with facility policy. Nurses, in particular, are mandated to follow facility protocols when reporting abuse. This includes prompt reporting of any suspicion to the relevant authorities. By doing so, we contribute to the safeguarding of vulnerable populations. Shifting gears, let's talk about our second legal obligation, reporting communicable diseases. This involves notifying the local or state health department about any diagnosed cases. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention website provides a comprehensive list of reportable diseases and details about the reporting system. Why is this reporting so crucial? Well, it serves multiple purposes. Firstly, it ensures appropriate medical treatment for diseases such as tuberculosis. Timely reporting facilitates swift intervention and care. Secondly, reporting helps monitor for common source outbreaks, be it foodborne illnesses or, for instance, hepatitis A. This vigilance is key to public health. Thirdly, it aids in planning and evaluating control and prevention plans, such as immunization programs. By reporting, we contribute to effective public health strategies. Additionally, reporting plays a pivotal role in identifying outbreaks and epidemics promptly, allowing for a swift response. Lastly, reporting helps determine public health priorities based on emerging trends. This information guides decision makers in allocating resources where they are most needed. It's essential to note that each state mandates which diseases must be reported within its borders. Familiarize yourself with your state's requirements to ensure compliance. Adhering to our legal obligations in reporting abuse and communicable diseases is not just a professional duty. It's a fundamental aspect of providing quality health care. Thank you for listening to my audio notes on nursing. I hope you found them informative and helpful. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel for more audio notes on a variety of nursing topics.